Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up. I read quite a few books this month, mainly on audiobook. First book I finished was The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I've been meaning to read this for years because, I don't know, just something about Kafka kind of resonates with me, like existential dread, nightmarish, Kafkaesque. All those kind of elements kind of feel very much my kind of thing. Like when I was a kid, I think I was like 9 or 10 years old, I did actually start reading The Castle by Franz Kafka, and I really enjoyed it until a teacher removed it from my classroom. But I've never returned to his work since then, so I decided that I'd start again with Metamorphosis, and I thought it was quite good. Like, I personally read it almost as a allegory or a sort of comment on depression. How you become very like sluggish, you hide away, you become irritable, and basically like depression kind of takes over you. So I could read it in that way. You could also read it as a criticism on society. The very idea of Gregor becoming a bug is bizarre, but he's overworked and he's basically just living to work, so then he may as well just become an insect, or yeah, that kind of thing. So then yeah, it's very interesting. I feel like it's the kind of book that your first read is probably going to be, what the devil, what does this mean? And then you could just kind of reread it, maybe read some criticism around it to kind of see what other academic minds read into it. But for me, it felt very much like a critique on capitalism, and also the idea of the metamorphosis, the negative metamorphosis of depression. Then the next book I read was The Fall by Albert Camus. So I was reading that at the end of July, and then I finished it in August. To be honest, I got a bit bored of it, and I feel like I didn't necessarily understand it very much because I didn't really get much out of the book. It was just like this guy telling this other guy about his life, and I was just like, okay, like the narration style was interesting, but then I just kind of felt like, is this it? And then like I read on, I think it was the Wikipedia page, and it was talking about like the 9 circles of hell, and I was just like, what? Did I miss this? So yeah, so maybe Camus just went straight over my head. Then I read Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. This was an audiobook, and that was read by Holiday Granger. And I thought she did a phenomenal job of narration. Like, it's always nice when you get a really succinct and just great speaker doing an audiobook, because sometimes you get like a really crusty, dry, dull voice narrator, and you're just like, are you trying to send me to sleep? But yeah, this was quite a well narrated book. Did I enjoy it? It was alright. It's very much of its time, so there's questionable gender politics. The gamekeeper, I've forgotten his name now. When I press record, all knowledge of everything I've read leaves my brain. But the gamekeeper, like, he doesn't feel like a very romantic hero. Maybe that's the point. But some of his views on women, my goodness, why would anyone fall in love with him if he's spouting those ideas about women? Gee. Pheasants are always cute. Like, I did watch a film adaptation of it, I think last year. And like the highlight of the film was pheasants. This is so weird. I think pheasants are just the weirdest birds I've ever encountered. Like, where I live, they're out all the time, and sometimes you might like nearly crush them in the road because of the way they run out in front of you. They're very dinosaur-like in the way they run, and they're so clumsy in the noise they make. But yeah, the book isn't about pheasants, it's a bit of a raunchy tale about infidelity. Again, you could see this book as very much a critique on society, because there's a lot of talk about like the minors and like a person's place in society. Can you escape poverty, or are you always sort of kept down at your level? Can you escape being working class? Can you like ever really reach middle class? The gamekeeper guy nearly does when he becomes an officer in the army, but when he comes back home is then brought back down to a working class man. Then there's these ideas about social like dichotomies, and yeah, so it was okay. Like, not by any means one of the best books I've ever read. Oh, and then I read Almond by Won Pyung Son, or if you're going to pronounce it the way it is in Korean, it's Son Won Pyung. This is quite a popular book because I think like some people from the K-pop band BTS read it, and so then like everyone decided that, oh, I need to read it because of BTS. Well, that's great. I listened to this an audiobook, and it was an interesting story about two kids essentially kind of misplaced in society. So one of them has a condition with his brain where he's got like a small amygdala. So then he struggles to feel emotions like normal people do. And then the other kid is someone that's grown up in a very challenging situation, so he misbehaves a lot, and they sort of come together and form a friendship that is really quite heartwarming. There's themes of bullying, loss, and sort of finding your place in society, and in a society that is quite judgmental about those who don't fit in. So I thought it was an intriguing read, and I love exploring Korean literature, so it was quite interesting to read a book that's become quite popular around the world because of a pop culture phenomena. So yeah, it was quite enjoyable. I'm currently reading, still currently reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm nearly finished. I think I've got like 70 pages to go, but this is just a fun, cosy space adventure, and it's the kind of book that I feel like you can dip in and out of, and I've been doing that over the month, kind of dipping my toes into it on my lunch break, or kind of just before I go to bed to kind of like give me a toasty little comfort read. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm also currently reading, I was supposed to finish this in August, but All the Lovers in the Night by Maiko Kawakami. So this is translated from Japanese. Translation by Sam Bett and David Boyd. So I was supposed to finish reading this in August because August was Women in Translation Month, but I didn't finish it. Oops. But yeah, so at the moment it's about like a woman who, I'm not going to say is antisocial, but she's selective with who she socialises with, and it's kind of very much a slice of life in the vein of some of my favourite Japanese books, because I just love the slow meandering, its vibes, and a sprinkling of a plot throughout. But I've heard so many good things about Maiko Kawakami, and yeah, the cover as well, gorgeous. So I'm excited to continue reading that. And then I'm also currently listening to another audiobook on my commute, and this one actually came to me through the library. So there's a book club that is run by this lovely lady, and she was returning the book after her book club had discussed it, and it is The Manningtree Witches by A.K. Blakemore. So it's a historical novel, and I think it's a fictionalised account of a real witch trial in the 17th century. It's set in Essex, and I've only just listened probably about 2 hours in, but already the narration is phenomenal. I'm just going to find out who the narrator is, because kudos to her. She is like blowing me away. So there's accents, there's there's obviously like an Essex accent, then there's a kind of crisp narration, then there's also like for the upper class characters there's a kind of RP accent going on. What is her name? Sophia Zervadaci. Chef's kiss. Phenomenal. I'm really enjoying listening to her narration. So far we've been introduced to a couple of characters, and there's something going on, but I'm not far enough into it yet to kind of gather what's going on. Obviously I know it's going to be a witch trial, but I'm kind of like intrigued to see what the narrator does with this, whether they decide to make it that they are witches because it's fictional account, or whether it's going to very much kind of show the struggle of the women trying to prove their innocence in the face of such obscene behaviour from witchfinders and stupid people. Yeah, so they are all the books I've read and I'm currently reading in August. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. and I will see you again soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, bye bye.